Hi everyone, today I am making pecan turtle clusters. Yes indeed, let me show you. Over medium-high heat, I am roasting 2 cups of coarsely chopped pecans, and I am going to just stir them for about 3 to 5 minutes until their oil release and we start to smell that warm, inviting fragrance of pecans. Now, in my saucepan, that's 1 stick of butter, a cup of packed light brown sugar, y'all, and then a half cup of corn syrup that I am going to melt over kind of medium-low heat. And I'm just going to keep stirring it until the butter melts and everything is combined. And then once the butter is melted and everything is combined, I'm going to let this boil a little bit. And once it comes up to a boil, I'm adding 3/4 cups of sweetened condensed milk. And I'm just kind of slowly adding it and stirring it in as I go. Now, I have the heat still over medium-low, and we're just going to keep stirring and stirring and stirring and stirring at this point once we get all of our milk into the saucepan. And as we are stirring, y'all, this is going to take about 10 minutes. And as we're stirring, you want to have a candy thermometer or a thermometer on hand because we're going to stir this until it reaches 240 degrees about, more or less. And then once it reaches 240 degrees, y'all, we are going to, there it is. We are going to take it off the burner, y'all. And we're going to keep stirring for a minute, y'all, to kind of help it cool down a bit. We're going to continue to stir this and stir it. And look, that's the consistency that you want. Now that it's off the burner, I'm adding a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and I'm going to keep stirring that in. And this is going to not only incorporate the vanilla extract, but the stirring is going to help us right now to get air in that so our caramel can cool down a little faster. Now, once it's cooled for about a few minutes, I'm adding in the roasted pecans, y'all. And we're going to get them added, and then we're just going to kind of fold them into our caramel. And you notice how it's starting to thicken as we fold our caramel. And this is what you want. Now, once we let that cool, I give it another 5 minutes. We're just going to go ahead and spoon them out in like about a tablespoon on some non-stick parchment lined pan, y'all. You want to use either a nice greased baking sheet or some non-stick parchment paper. And I am just spooning them out and putting them on the pan. And I'm going to let these cool in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes. And while they are in the fridge, y'all, I am doing a double boil. Yes, a double boil for our chocolate. I am using about 1.5 cups. That's an 11-ounce bag of chocolate, along with a 1/2 cup of chocolate from another bag that I just wanted to use up. The recipe calls for about 12 ounces, though, of chocolate that I'm using. And then I'm also adding about a teaspoon of vegetable oil. That's going to kind of help it give it a nice glossy appearance. And we're just going to stir this over our double boil, y'all, until it just melts. Now, you can definitely pop this into the microwave, but I just like that, watching that caramel, not the caramel, y'all, but watching that chocolate do just this. Look how pretty it is. I just love how that melted chocolate look. And all I am doing is just kind of drizzling, spooning them on each one of my clusters, y'all. You can dip them if you like, but I prefer today to just spoon them on, take my time. I just spoon each one on, and I did a couple of layers of this spooning, y'all. I would spoon them on, make sure everything was spread out evenly over each cluster, y'all, and I just kept going back and forth until I got all that chocolate spooned onto those clusters, y'all. Just like that. This was so much fun, y'all. And I'm just using up all the chocolate, y'all. Again, just spooning. I did about 2 or 3 layers until all that chocolate was used up. I end up with 3 panfuls of this, y'all, too. And then once I got all that chocolate onto my clusters, what I did was place these into the refrigerator again and let them cool down again completely. And here they are after I took them out of the refrigerator after about 30 minutes. Kind of bringing them up to room temperature. And as you can see, they made quite a bit. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Now, I'm just going to place them in this dish, y'all. And then I am going to show you one of the best caramel pools I've ever seen coming up. Look at that. Look at that. And y'all, you got a pecan in every bite. Look at that pool. Pool, pool, pool. Yes, indeed, y'all. I was trying to eat this too at the same time, showing y'all that. And these were absolutely scrumptious, y'all. I'm telling you, I would be gifting these, y'all. If I have any of them left, there goes the pool. And y'all, check that out. That's what you're getting when you bite into it, for real, y'all. Absolutely worth making. Y'all, you know, I hope you try this. Till next time, y'all. Bye-bye.